Welcome to Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff. This is the place to come for news you can use to get things done. Everybody knows that too much stuff is clutter, and cleaning it makes you neater and tidier. To us, it is a life management tool that helps you navigate your next steps. This is what my book, Lighten Up, Free Yourself from Clutter, is all about. As baby boomers, we have a lot in front of us that is confounding and confronting, so we sweep things under the carpet and put them off another day or forever. That is clutter because it keeps us stuck, and my new book addresses all of that. So we're going to bring experts, authors, and authorities here to talk with us about health, relationships, technology, finance, housing. What are you going to do next in life? Passing down your life stories, and even the challenges of making final arrangements. Here we aim to learn, open new possibilities, choose, take action, and create a legacy, not a mess. So let's get started. You know what they say? Old habits die hard. And when it comes to travel, it's hard to shed that but just in case attitude. So bring everything with you, and it turns out to be a struggle. Lightening the load is not the only thing we can improve upon to unburden the travel experience. And today we're going to try to get the best travel advice we can from Kelsey Perry to see if she can prod us to change our ways and take the drag out of moving from place to place. She's a travel expert who has worked in the travel industry for more than 11 years, the last 8 or so with Rhodes Scholar, the world leader in educational travel for adults over 50. She has worn many hats at Rhodes Scholar, working as a content writer, providing tips and advice for travelers. So now she is the public relations director for the company. Let's see if she can give us some of her pro tips on how to make life on the road easier and better as we roam the world, checking things off our bucket list. So welcome, Kelsey. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Before we dive into all the ways we can improve our travel experience, can you take a quick minute to tell us what Rhodes Scholar is? That's R-O-A-D, like Rhodes Scholar, so that we can keep in mind what our travel adventure resource might be.
Yeah, definitely. So Rhodes Scholar, we're an educational travel organization. We've been around since 1975, just about to celebrate our 50th anniversary. We were originally founded as Elder Hostel, and so some people might recognize that name. But what we do is we take older adults over 50, we take them to all 50 states, all around the world. We take them on educational programming where you travel and you learn with your peers, people that are also over 50 and people that are there to learn and who are intellectually curious. So everything that we do is about learning and education. We're a nonprofit, so that is our mission is education.
Sounds like fun. I want your job.
It's a great job.
I would guess that making travel easier starts even before you pack. So what tips can you give people about planning a trip to the best possible outcome when it comes to travel?
Absolutely. I would say a really big thing for us, we talk a lot about mobility, serving people over 50. The average age of our participant is 72. So we talk a lot about and we think a lot about mobility. And we have a range of activity levels on our programs, and very detailed descriptions of what the activity is going to be on each program. So if you go to any program on our website, you can see what the general activity level is. And then you can actually delve into the day-by-day itinerary and see how many miles am I going to have to walk this day? Are there going to be cobblestones? Is it a hilly destination? So one thing is to really make sure that you're prepared for the physical exertion that's going to be required for whatever destination you're visiting. Elevation you need to think about. Yeah. So you want to pick a program and a destination that's right for your abilities, because it's not fun for anybody if it's too difficult for you. It's also not fun if you're going on a hiking program and you pick one that's too easy for you, because you might be way ahead of the group, and that's not great for cohesion either. Point. So that's a really, really big thing. And as far as destination, I think if you're someone who's just starting to get into travel and you're not really sure about where to go, or you're a little nervous about going internationally, we have a lot of programs right in the US. So find something that's driving distance to your house, just to kind of ease into it a little bit. There's so much to learn about right in the US and right in your backyard. You'd be surprised. So check out our programs on our website. Find something that's driving distance to you. Just sample it, try it out. That'll ease you into it. And then, hopefully you can kind of build up your confidence and then build up to seeing the whole world.
So when you travel, should you not only pack a bag to take with you for your day-to-day clothing, but do you need a day bag, something to take out on excursions?
Sure, I would
Should
say,
that be a backpack or something over your shoulder? What do you recommend?
yeah, I would say it kind of depends on the program. And if you're going to be out the whole day away from your hotel, I would say probably have a good waterproof backpack that you can have, a water bottle in. You can put your rain jacket in, maybe a snack, a camera, if you're going to bring your camera, that kind of thing. But if it depends, I went on a program in Quebec City this last September, and we were back at the hotel at least once a day. So, I just kind of brought my purse, and if it looked like rain, maybe I would bring my raincoat, or I would just wear that. So it kind of just depends on the program. But generally, I would say it is good to have, a backpack with you as an option.
Are there better times, given that you might travel to cold climates, is it better to travel to warm climates if you don't want to carry a lot of luggage because you don't have to bring heavy jackets? Or what do you have to say about better times of the year, better places to where you might need less?
Yeah, that's a good point. I would say if you're going somewhere and it is cold, or you're not sure what the weather is going to be, it's always just good practice to pack layers, because then you have lots of options. Bring things that are similar in color so you can kind of mix and match. Find out if your hotels have laundry, or you can always hand wash things in the sink if you need to rewear them. But I think packing layers is always really, really helpful, whether it's a cold destination or just you're traveling in the fall or something like that. And then I'll usually, just bring my big jacket. I'll wear that on the plane. You're wearing it when you're traveling, so it's not something that you have to have in your suitcase. So that's what I would recommend. And I do I would recommend, especially for travelers, older travelers who are retired and who have the flexibility, traveling during those shoulder seasons. That's kind of the term we use in the industry, is, during the fall, outside of the summer, essentially. It's going to be less busy. And so it is, in my opinion, a better time to travel. And so, but if you're looking at, traveling in the fall or even in the winter, we have a collection of programs called Winter In, and it's winter in the Mediterranean for the most part. And so those are programs where you're in Italy, you're in Spain.
Winter in warm places. That's a good idea.
Exactly. So it's mild. It's not going to be beach weather probably, but it's mild. It's still warmer. And so you can look for those destinations that, are more mild. You're not going to be having to, pack your parka.
You know what I always worry about when I travel is, how am I going to do my laundry? Because if you have to pack for a whole week and you have to change each day, and what do you do about laundry on the road? Or should you keep that in mind?
Sure. I mean, you can always, like I said, look and see if the hotels you're staying at have laundry services, and kind of budget for that. You can plan to hand wash. I do a lot of that. I pack a lot of just like under t-shirts that I can rewear a sweater a couple of times with an underneath layer that you can swap out, just like very light t-shirts or tank tops that will fit underneath. So you're not having to wash your outer layers or have to worry about that. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's a good idea. What about medications? You don't want to get stuck on the road without your medications or things you might need from a sundry point of view. Can you comment on that, Kelsey?
Absolutely. It's definitely something that our participants are worried about and is important for them. You always want your medications in your carry-on, if possible. Even I wouldn't say bring them out in your day pack, but make sure that you have extra, that you have one spot in your luggage where you always keep your medication, because we also see people we'll be pulling out in the bus and they're like, where's my medication? Then we have to go back to the hotel and try to find it. And they're like, oh yeah, it's just in a different spot. So always having one spot where you keep your medication always is a really good way to not that panic mode of like the lost my purse feeling, where you're like, oh God, it's not there. And then you start to panic. So I think having a spot where you always keep your medication, if you're traveling on a plane or a train, always keep it, in your carry-on. And if you can bring extra and have, 2 separate bottles in 2 separate places, just in case, that's always a good tip
idea.
too.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that the next time.
Yeah.
So, What if you get stuck on the road? Is there a recourse if you've forgotten something, medically speaking? What do you do in that case? Is Road Scholar have any backup for people in healthcare?
Sure. As far as, over-the-counter medication, they can always help you find a pharmacy. They might even have something on them. As far as prescriptions, it kind of depends if you're in the U.S. or if you're traveling internationally. That might be more difficult. But, that's one of the positives of traveling with an organization like Road Scholar, where you have a group leader who's there to help you and essentially a concierge to you almost, so that they're taking care of all of the logistical details. And first of all, you have less to worry about. So having to keep track of medication maybe is a little bit easier. But that's also, if you do lose your medication or you leave it at the hotel, they'll take care of getting it back to you, or help you figure out how to get a backup medication. So you don't have to figure that out yourself.
Do you give any kind of checklists to people before they leave, so they can have some kind of backup before they go, so that a reminder before they go to bring certain things with them?
Yeah, so we call them prep mats. That's short for preparatory material. All of our programs have a unique prep mat that gets sent out to our participants. It's all digital now, so that gets sent out to our participants in the months leading up to their program. And that includes, your group leader's contact information, weather information, a packing list, hotel information, information about the destination. There's lots of information in there. So that would include a packing list as well.
Gosh, I need my own advisor like that. That's great. Now, what do you do? What do you recommend regarding like paperwork, like passports and visas and all that kind of paperwork that you need to take with you?
Sure. I've heard a lot of people say make copies of your passport and have that with you somewhere else in your luggage. Keep a copy at home with a friend or a spouse or a family member in case you need that. I don't always do that, I will say, but as far as visas and things like that, that's another great reason to travel with Road Scholar, because our advisors are connected to people on the ground in every country around the world, and we stay very up to date on what the visa requirements are, vaccination requirements, all that kind of thing, and we'll communicate those things to you as a traveler in real time. So you don't have to be worrying about what visa do I need for what destination. A lot of visa requirements are changing right now as well. So if something does change with the place that you're already booked for, you don't have to worry about any of that. We'll take care of all those details and we'll let you know what we need, what you're going to need.
Yeah, so I guess there could be nothing worse than going on a trip and looking the day before to pull out your passport and you realize that you're out of date. So how long in advance do you need to make sure your passport and your visas are intact?
Yeah, some countries require you to have a passport that has a 6-month period, so it won't expire until 6 months after you return from your trip. So that's kind of best practice, I would say. So it's not like that for every country, but rather than having to figure out if your country requires that, it's just kind of best practice. If you look at your passport and it expires within 6 months after the end of your trip, it's best to try to just get it updated. But make sure you look at your passport far enough in advance, because you never know what passport, timelines are going to be for getting those back to renew it. So.
Okay. So, what do you do about phone service in another country?
Yeah. I would say talk to your phone provider. Everyone's a little bit different, but what I do, I have AT&T. They have a great service where, you can text internationally. I think they charge you like $10 a day or something like that. And so I really like that. I can use my data and I can use texting. I can, look at my maps. I can use my translator app, all that kind of good stuff. So I would say just talk to your phone service. I do like to have the ability to use my phone in other countries. It just gives, even if I don't end up using it, I just like having that option. It just gives you a little more confidence and security.
You don't want to spend like $1 zillion, $10 a minute using your phone. So how far in advance do you think you should contact your phone service? Probably the moment you decide you're going on a trip. Find out what is required phone-wise.
see what the options are, but I would say even within the, couple months before leading up to it, you could still reach out. I mean, I think most phone companies, whether it's something you have to set up before you leave, or if it's just something that you just use your phone and they charge you extra. Most phone companies at this point have something, back when I was traveling in college, I would recommend getting a phone locally or getting a SIM card locally, but you don't have to worry about any of that. Yeah. Those days are over. I think most phone companies have some kind of either a package, or they just have a deal like AT&T where I don't even have to let them know I'm going. If they notice I'm using my phone internationally, they just charge me an extra $10. So, there's usually an option.
Talking about notifying people that provide you different services that you take for granted here. What about your credit cards? What do you need to do in terms of credit cards or cash? Do you have to notify banks or credit card companies? And do you have to get the local currency here? Is it better to get it over there? Can you fill us in on currencies?
Sure. So that's also something that's changing. I noticed the last time I traveled, I tried to notify my credit card companies and my bank that I was going to be out of town, and they said, you don't need to do that anymore. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't really know exactly why that is. But I think it's good practice. I think always let your credit cards and your banks know that you're going to be in a different country. You can call them, but most, if you do use an app or you have an online account, you can usually submit that information through your online account or through the app, so you don't even have to call anymore. But I'm sure most places you can call too if that's something you're more comfortable with. So I would say that as far as credit cards, if you are someone who's going to be traveling internationally more frequently, that I would definitely look at different credit card options. There are some that have really, really great travel perks. You definitely want a credit card that doesn't charge international fees, so that you have that option. I tend to use credit cards as much as possible when I'm traveling internationally. They just take care of all the exchange rates and everything, and I don't have to worry about that. But I do always, want to have a little bit of cash on me in the local currency as well. I would say there are a lot of countries where they'll take American dollars, but I just feel like it's better to have the local currency. So what I usually do is as soon as I get to the airport in a different country, I will just find an ATM and take out some cash.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about bringing cash with me, finding an exchange place. Is it better to do it in the US or in the other country? Once I hit there, I hit the ATM and I take out some cash there. That's what I find to be the best way to do it.
They have a booth at our local mall here in Florida that has a little kiosk that's money exchange. So I like to take a few dollars or a few pesos or whatever currency it is with me, just so I have something when I hit the ground. That's the way I like to do it. But everybody has their style. But think ahead is a good idea when you're packing, when you're getting ready and preparing for any trip. Think ahead to anything that may go wrong and make it right. I'm not a naysayer, but you do want to be prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
So for all you folks out there who love the prospect of traveling, start planning and your next adventure, and remember to pack light and to look ahead to see what you might need on that trip so that you have everything go smoothly without anything in the way of your good time. So check out Road Scholar and see if you want to learn and explore and meet new friends on one of their worldwide adventures. Visit Road Scholar at the website www.roadscholar.org and have a wonderful trip. Thank you for being with us, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for today. So let's wrap things up with a request that you go to our website, www.decluttering55plus.com, and click on the Let's Connect button. Share your thoughts, insights, and tell us the lessons you've learned. If you're facing challenges or celebrating triumphs on your decluttering journey, we want to hear from you. Connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Let us know you're part of our community by rating and reviewing us from wherever you're listening from today. And don't forget, invite your friends and family, young and old, to tune in too. Let's include them in the conversation. The more, the merrier. Thanks for being with us today. And until next time, this is Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff, wishing you a clutter-free day.